Hey Nate, it's nice to finally meet you and have you on the Traklife platform.
Hi, nice to meet you too.
So you mentioned to me before that you have like one of the weirder come up slash backgrounds. What did
Yeah.
you mean by that and how does that shape your music?
I've just like I'm I don't by like weird I kind of mean like I don't know how to explain it. I so pretty much I started off uh making like punk music with my friends in a band, playing guitar. I learned saxophone, then I played drums. Did Let me see, what else did I learn? Learned a little bit of piano, kind of like bounced around every instrument, and then in high school I started DJing, and then I thought I wanted to be like the big DJ, like playing like EDC and stuff. So then I started producing EDM in college and started. I was like a fraternity DJ for my fraternity, and then started playing at other houses, and that gave me a bunch of opportunities to open for bigger artists. So I played with Sunburn, and I got to meet them too, which was like dope and like really cool people. Like so, I met like Sunburn, played with him. I played with Elderbrook, Enzo, and like a few other guys. And yeah, so that was just really cool, just like meeting and like just everything about that. And then in 2019, I went through surgery and I kind of had like 9 months, nothing to do. And yeah, I just like started learning to produce less EDM, more kind of like singing stuff, like trying to add my voice into it. And then I played my first show in September of 2019. And then yeah, still wanted to be a full DJ, want to be more like Flume. And then just about like 2-3 months ago I started like really going in for rapping because like I realized that more of someone that likes to write and do poetry and stuff like that. So yeah, I've just like kind of been everywhere. I'm like that's like made me do like I made punk music, made indie rock, I've made dubstep, house music, jazz. Like
Yeah, I
yeah,
can
that's what I
definitely
mean
hear
by
that like all throughout your music. You have like all these different
yeah.
genres intertwined.
I'm like pretty ADHD with what I listen to and everything. So yeah, that's what I mean by weird cover. I've been through so many different genres and kind of like walks of life in a way, like just in terms of music. So like I've like yeah, kind of like now I'm kind of trying to take everything and my favorite elements, of each thing. But yeah.
Word. So, other than your past, what else do you seem to grab inspiration from, whether it's an artist or an activity, friends?
I'd say that um yeah, like definitely artists too. Like I take a lot of inspiration from them. Oh, 1 second, my cat. That was bound to happen. Uh, so like one artist I take big inspiration from is Mac Miller. Um, I've just been a big fan of him for the longest time, and yeah, I just love like his writing style and all that. Another like yeah, like I guess like I take inspiration from electronic music. It's mostly just like the music I listen to, in that sense. So like yeah, it's a lot. I take a lot of inspiration from just random songs I find, random records I find at the store or something like that. But yeah, and other than that, I guess I take a lot of inspiration from my life. I still have a lot of things to talk about that's happened to me. So when I start running out of things to talk about in that sense, I'll start experiencing new things.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like you have a lot of song. You were saying how you have like hundreds of songs in the vault. So that just proves
Yeah,
that you have a lot of life experience if you're
yeah.
able to write that much.
I've been through a lot in the last few years, so I have a lot to talk about. And
Yeah, that's really cool that you're able to be vulnerable and talk about that in your music because I know a lot of artists hold that back because they're
yeah,
afraid to put that
I
out
don't know.
there.
It's weird because for me, I can't make songs where I'm just talking about partying and money and all that. Like it just feels so weird to me and foreign. And like
Yeah,
I feel like I'm
repetitive.
lying when I'm like talking about those things, but when I'm talking about like deeper stuff and like like you said, like more vulnerable stuff, like that's when I feel like I can actually like the words come out a lot more fluidly for me at least.
Yeah. Yeah, and that will connect with your audience a lot more than just
Yeah.
the basic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk a little about your upcoming album. Listening to your discography, like you really don't stick to one genre. What
Yeah.
genres will we be hearing like on this new album?
So yeah, new album dropping sometime in the spring. I don't want to say a date yet, but it's pretty much done. But yeah, so the last one was very jazz heavy, very like 90s era kind of stuff. This one is I kind of just wanted to I don't really know what genre it is actually for this one. So I maybe it's like it's very electronic. There's a lot of blues in there. Lyrics as usual, it's always hip hop, so like always gonna be that. And yeah, it's gonna be a lot more like experimental, more electronic stuff. I guess I'd be going back to my own roots in a way, like in terms of like DJing and stuff. So there's a couple house songs in there. So yeah, it's gonna be like way different than the last stuff I did, but still kind of like in the same, vibe in a way. Vocals are
Very
still kind
cool.
of the same. Yeah.
Will you be releasing like any singles leading up to the release?
Yeah, I actually have I'm planning on dropping like 3 or 4 songs from it. The project's gonna be around 20 songs, so I have a lot of like,
Wow.
you know, singles to drop from there. So
Yeah,
yeah, so it's the whole idea is just to make an album that you can just kind of like put your headphones on and close your eyes and you have a whole movie play out in your head. Like
I
that's
love that.
super
Yeah.
cinematic, like a lot of atmosphere everywhere. Like I added just so many little things. There's a lot of like audio snippets and dialogue throughout the album to tell the story. There's like a couple different stories in there. It's gonna be a really dense album, so I'm really
Nice.
excited about it.
So what kind of like themes should we be expecting like within the lyrics? Is it going to be more of the vulnerableness similar to like
Yes.
your past music?
So with this album, oh, you might see a cattail in here. So with this album, it's kind of like I've always had this idea of getting I've always had this idea of just continuing sort of the story from project to project. So if you listen, my goal is from like by the time I'm like gone or done with music at least, uh, I will you can like listen from my first song to the last song and it'll flow. So like the last album leads into this album and this album will lead into the next project. So you could literally listen to I want my whole discography to be like one long album
Nice.
by
That's
the
really
time I'm
cool.
done. So yeah, it's gonna pretty much continue the story. The last one was about like living with depression and trying to like overcome it. And this one is pretty much sort of in the same like vein. But it's more of like uh I've taken a more the last one was more of like from my perspective, this is more of like I've created sort of a character and
Hmm.
you're kind of following this character through his journey and he eventually and goes to a different planet and stuff like that. So there's like without trying to say too much about the story. But yeah, it's a lot more of like storytelling, uh more of a narrative than the last album, which was a lot more just me just talking about like what I was going through at this time. This is more of like trying to create a character to talk about it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you have like a huge vision for it. Are you going to add any like visual components to it? Any music
Yeah.
videos or anything?
Uh I that's why like I might my dream would have been to do like come out have like a movie with it, be like a soundtrack, like have it be the soundtrack of like an hour-long video. That's gonna take a while. That'd be cool if I could pull it off. I might be trying to do that. We'll see if I
Yeah,
can
you
find the
should check
headphones.
out I don't know if you've seen it yet, but Flume
Yeah,
has.
no, 100%.
Yeah, I just watched it the other day. Like that'd
Yeah,
be really cool to do
Flume's
something like
yeah,
that.
Flume's a huge like I love Flume so much. I've seen him a bunch of times
Me
and
too. I saw him actually at
oh
Lollapalooza.
yeah,
What?
I saw him at Red Rocks
Wow, that's my
2 years ago.
dream.
Yeah, and I was supposed to see him again last year, but COVID had to
Yeah,
cancel.
same. I was supposed to go to Buku and see him, but that fell through last minute.
Yeah. But yeah, that's like that's actually the album actually that's like one of the influences I kind of like I was listening to Skin a lot while I was making the album. So like a lot of the sound design I kind of took ideas from like I kind of like yeah, like I was really influenced by that sound design wise. So yeah.
Awesome. I'm excited to hear that, definitely. So, as an independent artist, entering such an oversaturated market, you know firsthand how hard it could be standing out. So what advice do you have for other emerging artists on how they can kind of build their fan base and their engagement without
Yeah.
killing the art?
Um, I don't know. I mean, that's something I'm still struggling with. I think that's something every artist struggles with constantly, no matter how big you are, is, balancing what what you want to do as an artist, and like how you want to evolve as an artist, and how you like giving back to your fans, and giving music that your fans would like. And I've always kind of like, one thing that Mac has always done is keeping the music sacred. And like he talked about like never even letting any executives or anyone into the studio. Like it was just this most sacred thing. I've done that since the beginning, and I've just always realized that, oh, there's my cat in the back. But I've just realized that as long as I keep the music sacred and I do it for me, and I don't know, like I've realized that staying true to yourself in music is the most important thing. Like I I I don't want to make music to blow up. I don't want to make music for one song. Like I care more about telling stories and telling my story, and then hoping that someone else might feel the same way. And I'm trying to help people, and I don't think I can do that by just doing one song at a time or something like that. So I think just staying true to yourself is like if you're authentic, people will see that. And if and they'll like that more so than if you're just lying, or being fake and all that. Like people can see through that, because
Yeah, for sure.
I've been able to see that through artists, through I've met artists that I've followed for a while, and I'm not gonna say any names, but I was like, damn, like that's not what I was expecting. Like I kind of saw through like their whole like art by meeting them. Like if you stay if like a fan, like if you're a fan and you meet an artist and he's exactly like the way you would have expected him to be, that's the coolest thing in the world. And then like if they're like super down to earth and stuff, like I met so many artists like that. And yeah, like you can, if you stay authentic, people will see that. If you're fake, people will see through that. I guess that's what I
Yeah.
meant. Like,
For sure. I feel like a lot of the times when artists blow up is when they start to lose touch with themselves and with their true fans. And that's when they start drifting
exactly.
in the
Like,
direction of like letting their ego take over and thinking they're too good for, you know,
exactly. Yeah.
the people that started out with them and stuff.
Exactly. I'd rather have like 100 fans that are die hard and will do, and like I want to like, I'd rather have 100 fans that I can do anything with. Like I can go from releasing a jazz mixtape to house mixtape to like heavy metal, and they'll be like, whoa, that's so cool. Than 1,000 fan, like a million fans that are like, as soon as I try to do something different, then I just get hate for it. Like
Yeah,
I'd rather I think that's the most important thing, is just like always evolving as an artist. I think the job of an artist is to evolve, honestly. It's just,
for sure.
like you should always be looking at what's the next thing that your art you can go to. Like I was a DJ, and I was like, cool, being a DJ is fun and all, but like at the end of the day, I'm just, pressing play at the right moment,
Yeah.
pressing a few knobs. No matter what anyone tells you, like I DJ'd for 3 years. That's what I was doing. But like that's like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. But yeah, I was like, okay, well, I want to start singing. So I taught myself how to sing, and I started learning how to write. I read more books. Like now I'm looking at what's next. I want to learn more instruments. I want to bring more of a live instrument like feel in my music. So
Yeah, I
like I
mean, the
think
more
evolving
you
is
can
the
do, the
best.
more money you're gonna save elsewhere. Like if
No,
you start learning
exactly.
the mixing and mastering and all that, like then you don't
Exactly.
have
Yeah.
to outsource it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
and
the
this is
less
the
people
perfect
you
time to
rely on,
learn more stuff.
people we rely on. Like that's what Russ is, a lot people will say what they want about Russ, but I mean the man does everything himself. Like it's genius. But like also like, oh my god, that's a lot of work. Like I mix and master and do everything myself, and it's horrible. Like
Yeah,
like it's
I can
dope because like
imagine.
it's all me, and the only person I can blame for anything is me. But like it's a lot of work. So it's
Yeah.
a balance. Like everything in life is a balance. So
Yeah, I mean, at least you have like the full creative control over it and you don't have to worry about, sending your music elsewhere and like
yeah,
nagging them like, come on, can you get this done?
yeah, exactly. I mean, like like same with like I still like have other producers like make me beats and stuff. Like, or people will send me beats. It's mostly like, in that sense, it's like if someone sends me a beat and I'm like, wow, like I can just hear a whole song out of it, even just I can hear melodies on it, I'll write to it, you know. But like, yeah, sometimes it's like, at least for mixing and like for vocals too, like if I send the vocals back to the producer, I'll usually end up having to wait months. So now I just like mix it myself. So
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, it's like being able to do a lot more yourself. The most you can do, like being able to do a lot by yourself, yeah, is definitely a lot better than.
for sure. So like, where would you suggest artists that are looking to do this stuff themselves as well, like mixing and mastering, where do you suggest they go to learn how to do it themselves? Like, where did you look?
Um, I think, I mean, YouTube, honestly, YouTube's the best way. And it's literally, I think music in general is more of a, like, I'm self-taught in almost everything except saxophone. I I learned jazz saxophone, but like singing and all that, like singing, I just sang along the songs that I liked, and I was like, oh, I want my voice to sound like this, so I would sing along to it. And then also just like singing, I would just like record myself and sing along to myself, and then you get better. And then mixing is kind of the same thing. It's all ear. It's all by ear and training your ear, listening to
Mhm.
a lot of music, um, and like kind of just twisting knobs and seeing what they do. That's literally how I learned everything. Like I just twist knobs, like, oh, that does that. Okay, like weird. Now I'm gonna figure out how to not use like what Flume does. What I heard him say in an interview. Like he finds out how to do how a plugin works, and then he like figures out how you're supposed to use it, and then doesn't do that. Like does the opposite. Like that's how you learn most of the things, is just by trying to like
Trial and error.
weird, yeah, it's doing the absolutely most weird stuff you can possibly do with it. And then yeah, just it's all by ear. That's just learning and just listening. Like I'm still not really where I want to be with mixing and mastering, but like I get better every single time, and like
For
spending
sure.
20 hours a day definitely helps.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and then speaking of singing, like your voice, are those influences from like France? Like you can
I
hear like
don't
sort of
know.
the accent in your
Honestly.
voice. Like where does that like slight accent come from? Because talking to you, like you don't
Oh,
really
okay,
hear that
yeah.
that
So
voice.
so I'm here's the thing. I've like I used to have a very cutthroat accent, and especially like even in high school, like I found a video that I made for a class where I was narrating like a project about, I think it was like about cars or something, about culture. And I just had like a very strong French accent like this, you know. I've just gotten good at like hiding it, and it just, I guess when I sing, I don't really think about hiding it. But yeah, I don't know, like I've like made I put such an emphasis on hiding my accent that like nowadays it's like, if you ever hear my parents, it's like, wow. Like they have the most French accent because we're all like from France, like, so
So
yeah.
did you were born in France and you lived there for how long until you
So I
moved
lived
over to
there
America?
for till I was about 4.5, 5 years old, and then I spent every summer, every break, everything with my extended family in France. So I spent like most of the time in Paris with my aunt, and that was literally just so I could so I could stay like with my French accent when I'm talking French or speaking French. And yeah, and then I went to a French speaking like international school pretty much the entire time up until high school. So I was in like French curriculum going back to France anytime I was had any like week long break or anything. So yeah, I didn't
That,
really get to like the American curriculum until high school.
that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm glad I went to a public American school other than like a private French school again.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
So I just have one more question to kind of wrap it up. I know it's not always easy being a musician, so I wanted to ask you like what your favorite part and your least favorite part about it is.
um Well, favorite part right now, being I mean, especially being someone who's like who's not really known yet, is I guess having that much music, and like it's like having like an RPG in your back pocket, like a rocket launcher in your back pocket. You know, that's what my friend always says. And yeah, just being able to walk around and like, damn, I have that much music that no one's ever heard. It's kind of, I think that's like the trippiest part about it, and just being able to like tell a story and just like get my thoughts out. And then the best part that's even better than that is when someone like texts me and says, hey, that song, like I related to that, or like, wow, like that, like I don't know, like I've had only a few people say that to me, but like that makes it worth it for that song. Like I always say, like I know I'll have made it in music when someone that I don't know comes up to me and says, hey, a song that you did, an album you did, or like a show you did either changed something, or like if someone comes up to me and says that, I'll know. Like I could have like $1 billion in streams and that not happen, and I won't, like I'd still haven't made it, you know. So like I think that'd be the best. That's like the best part, is like people connecting to it, and the worst part is probably social media.
Yeah, I figured that's what you're
Dang
gonna say.
it. Yeah, I'm like, especially like for the people that follow me on Instagram, like I did like for a few months I was posting a lot, like every Friday I did like freestyle Fridays, where I just find a beat, like, or make a beat, and I would just freestyle for a minute about anything, and it was fun. I loved it, but oh my god, it's just I just don't. I'm not the kind of person anymore to just be into that like social media culture. So for me, it's like that's like the worst part, like the marketing aspect. I wish I could just
Yeah,
make
it's
it
hard to
like,
keep
yeah,
up.
like a lot of times I think about just never dropping and making music, and then I'm like, damn, then people that follow me wouldn't like that because then they would never hear it. So
Yeah, I
it's
mean, you've got a good following, so I think as long as you
yeah.
keep staying
I
like
That's the thing, is
authentic,
like I wish I could drop more often. That's the thing, is I would, if I could drop, if it was like really easy for me to just like, if it I didn't, because like, you know, when you send music to distributors and stuff, it takes a few weeks. If I didn't have that, like if I could just like, you know, constantly, I would be dropping music every day. But then, you know, doesn't make the music special. So it's like, again, it's always a balance. Everything in
yeah.
life is balance. So
I mean, you can start some sort of series to do with
yeah,
that where you are.
we'll see. I might start leaking some music somewhere. We'll see. But
Cool. Well, I'll keep an eye out.
so yeah, I'd say honestly the best part, people connecting, worst part, marketing the music. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, well, that's all I have for you. It was great talking to you. Great having you on the Track Life
It was great
platform.
being
This
here.
will be up on YouTube, Instagram, lots
Awesome.
of places. So keep an eye out and keep an eye out for Nate's new album coming April 2021.
Yep. And also, I will have a bunch of songs. I can't say I will. Okay. I can say this. There's a song dropping on Valentine's Day and a song dropping on April 1st. And I promise it's not an April Fool's Day joke. I'll say that. Other
Cool.
than that, that's all I can say about that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, everyone, Nate LeBlanc, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.